All right, what's up? A little early, just checking in, making sure everything is all set up. There we go. Put a little springtime music on. Let's see what we got here. All right, wait for 7 o'clock for our amazing spring fling cocktail hour. A little espresso. We got a little springtime music. For those of you who are on, if anybody could just in the chat real quick say you can hear me, say if there's any technical issues regarding the volume. Looking great, thank you. Yeah, brand new bar and brand new apartment. This is now my official studio here in my apartment here in Brooklyn, where all the Tipsy Scoop cocktail classes will be coming from going forward. Perfect, awesome, thank you so much. We got 3 minutes before our spring fling cocktail class for tonight. Hopefully everybody's looking forward to this. I know I have. I've been looking forward to spring more than anything. Today is really not reminiscent of spring, but hopefully we'll get there soon. Make sure our sponsor brands are nice and in focus. as well as our Tipsy Scoop. I got my springtime mix on. I got springtime right around the corner. All right. Welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday, actually. Wow, I feel like the days just all kind of run together at some point, but it is Wednesday, April 21st. I believe I did my taxes this past weekend, so I think it is April 21st. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Hopefully you are looking forward to today's class. We have a really amazing class today. First and foremost, my name is Justin Noel. I am the mixologist for Tipsy Scoop. Tipsy Scoop is an amazing boozy ice cream company based here in New York. We have some amazing ladies that work for the company. This is a women-run owned company. Melissa Tabas is the owner, is a really good friend of mine. I've known her for several years. For those who don't know, Tipsy Scoop started 7 years ago as a pop-up. Melissa was really, kind of doing these kind of pop-ups with a lot of tequila cocktail festivals and bourbon cocktail festivals and things like that, and was really bringing her own interpretation of some of these cocktails into these events with ice cream or in ice cream form, and just became a hit. Like, I worked with her on a couple different pop-ups over the course of the years when she first started, and it was just funny because I oversaw this really great tequila brand, and we thought we were, the cat's pajamas, so to speak. And then after a couple of years, the tequila brands kind of took a backseat to what Tipsy Scoop was becoming in their evolution. They were becoming very much the popular ice cream or the popular draw at these festivals. It was really great to see. And that really inspired her to open up her brick and mortar. We actually have 2 locations for those of you who are not from the tri-state area. We have a location in Manhattan, in the Grand Mercy area of Flatiron area of New York, Manhattan. So for those of you who don't know what that is, definitely check it out. Awesome little spot. And then Williamsburg, which is really kind of more of the the larger boutique. Definitely a great opportunity when we are back in the real world. Before COVID times and then after COVID times, when you can actually go to establishments and have a great time. Highly recommend checking out both those spots. But the one in Williamsburg is really the one that's really kind of embracing the kind of bar idea and concept. For those of you who are very interested, definitely check it out when it's back opening and functional as normal. There's a bouncer because these ice creams do have alcohol in them. There's 5% alcohol infused into these ice creams and sorbets. So we have a bouncer, checks your ID, and it's really kind of a fun modern twist on the like soda jerk from the 50s and 40s, more of a modern version, and really fun. And this is the kind of concept that you would be doing, the kind of event you would be doing in the store. And Melissa and her team, the Tipsy Scoop team, have kitted this out to really kind of bring this experience that you would have in the Williamsburg store to you through the world of virtual, whether it's through YouTube or Zoom. If you're lucky enough, you get me to teach these classes, so that's always awesome. But the ladies over there have done a fantastic job of really trying to create and capture what normally would happen at the Williamsburg store, which is you could do a fun, and I'll get into this a little bit more at the end, but you can book a class, whether it's a birthday party, bachelorette party, whatever, and you would actually get to do this with all the ice creams available at the store, fun little mini bar of options, and then a plethora of great garnishes, cakes, things that you want to play with. So it's really fun. And this is our attempt and their attempt really to kind of capture that experience and bring it to you in really a fun kit form. And we have with us today really 2 great cocktails that are already available on the website. If you do go to tipsyscoop.com, for those of you who are new to not only this, but to us, this platform, Rachel, who works and oversees a lot of stuff for Tipsy Scoop, she'll drop in the website so you can go straight there, but it is tipsyscoop.com. And you can book not only those classes, hopefully in the future, but you can get the kit today if you don't already have it, and get these 2 cocktails that we're doing, as well as some other future ones that I'll discuss later in the class. So definitely, if you have a good time tonight and you're really interested and you like this, I know we are moving slowly back into a world where we can actually engage in person. But for those of you still not either inoculated or still kind of in those situations where we are doing this kind of socially distanced learning and education and entertainment, I highly recommend checking out the kits, checking out not only the ice cream kits that we're doing, the cocktail kits that we're doing, the ice cream flavors that are available, but all the fun stuff that they do, because they do so many cool, fun activities and releases that I highly recommend. So definitely check out the Tipsy Scoop website when you get a second. For those of you who are new to this class or want to participate in this class, it is a very unique situation versus Zoom, where I can unmute you or let you ask questions, virtually, and we can interact almost, one-on-one. This situation is a little bit different with YouTube Live. What I would say is, if anybody has any questions throughout this class, or if I'm doing something and you can't hear me or you need me to repeat something, YouTube does have a live chat, and we have the live chat working tonight. So please, if at any moment you have a question, want to know some more information, not only do you have me tonight, Justin Noel, but you also have some amazing ladies on here who can answer any questions regarding Tipsy Scoop. So if at any moment you need to know something, or I said something and you didn't have time to write it down, ask it in the chat and we'll make sure we get you that information. As I mentioned before, my name is Justin Noel. I'm the mixologist for Tipsy Scoop's ice cream cocktail kit and their virtual ice cream cocktail social happy hours that we do with all our fun private and corporate clients. I also am a bar owner and bartender here in New York, and for the better part of the 20 years, I've bartended around the world, owned 3 amazing cocktail bars in New York and 1 restaurant, traveled around the US basically for the last 10 years, not only educating bartenders and training them on spirits, cocktails, education, overseeing marketing for the on-premise world, but also doing amazing events all over the US, and actually for the last several years all over the world, where I got to meet some amazing people at these events, so globally. So this is my way to kind of still interact with people and still bring my passion to you guys through this format. So hopefully you have a great time tonight. We have 2 great drinks for you. We have the strawberry lemonade spritz, and we have the cherry bomb. And I'll get into not only what you need to have for the kits if you don't have one, or what you would have gotten with those kits if you do have one. I'll go through the tools that you're going to need for tonight's class, as well as answer any questions that you have regarding just some ideas that you have with regards to what maybe you can do with these ice creams and some of the ingredients once you're done with tonight's class. Because we do at Tipsy Scoop send you a nice size set of ingredients, whether it's the size of our ice cream and sorbets, the amount of ingredients that we give you, and we always get questions not only asking, hey, love the cocktail, but what are some other ways to repurpose this stuff? My go-to is eat the stuff, because it's amazing, and we will break into these items and taste them individually so you can actually try the ice creams themselves and sorbets before they go in a cocktail. But for those of you who don't have the sweet tooth much like myself, but are more adventurous and want to make cocktails with these lovely items, at the end, we will give you some suggestions as well. But at any point, as I said, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it and make sure that we answer any and all of your questions for tonight's class. So with that being said, we do have some upcoming live classes we'll be doing on YouTube Live. So I'll go through those at the end. But please, check it out. Hopefully you have fun tonight and you get some friends and colleagues or whatever together, get the kits, and then we'll let you know the date so you can actually participate while you're doing it. Because while I do love doing the Zoom classes because we can interact, if you don't have that kind of time and you want to do it kind of like this way, I highly suggest it. Well, get the kits. We'll let you know the dates for the future ones so you can participate. It'll be really fun. So with that being said, for tonight's 2 cocktails, you need the following tools. Now, again, as I said, we send you an abundance of things. Large ice creams, large sorbets. We send you our sponsored brands. We send you the garnishes, sometimes some fresh ingredients. But unfortunately, we can't send you all the tools as well that would get not only costly, but just so much. So there are some basic things that you just need for tonight's class, and it's very simple. First and foremost, you need glassware. So tonight I'm going to be making both of these drinks in what is relatively known as a Spritz glass. So for those of you who see the word Spritz and you see the recipe and you see the name of the cocktail Spritz, you're like, oh, that seems to be a very popular mixology term, very popular cocktail term. I'll get into what it means, but these are traditionally what we would call Spritz glasses, or even if you are have been fortunate enough to go to Spain, Italy, and France recently, we actually call these G&T glasses as well. So just nice bulbous, kind of like wine glasses. Obviously, I can't see you and what you're using, so use whatever you feel comfortable with. I will say I've yet to do a class. I've yet to experience anybody making a cocktail in their hands, like literally just make it in their hands. They need a glass. So you definitely need a glass. So use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be as fancy as these, but you definitely need a glass for tonight's cocktails. Some other items you're definitely going to need. Now, obviously, I work for an ice cream company, so I do have an ice cream scoop. By all means, if you have one of these, definitely whip it out. But if you don't have one of them, don't feel bad. You don't have to have one to participate. This very expensive tool is a teaspoon, or tablespoon, actually, tablespoon. You just can use one of these and it'll be perfectly fine for a night's class. Actually, will come in really handy for when we use for the cherries preserves, as well as this little item right here. You guys are probably going to see this and be like, I know we might need a knife because we got the lemon, but Justin seems to have a butter knife. Well, this is actually going to come in handy for the cherry preserves with the cherry bomb. So if you don't have an ice cream scoop, get yourself a tablespoon, get yourself a butter knife, just something that you can use to spread and also kind of use as a stirring vessel or stirring tool, and I'll show you how we'll use that. And I just sit everything into some nice, warm, tepid water. One, it's going to help me actually get the ice cream off pretty easily because this stuff freezes quite thick, and it's nice and velvety and light, but we want to be able to get those ice creams out and not have it stick. So you stick it into some water, and plus it cleans it. So when we go from this one to our next ice cream flavor, we won't have, the leftovers, but nothing against that.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
My Alexa's talking to me. Sorry about that. So those are the tools. You've got the ice cream scoop, the butter knife, and our tablespoon. And then another item, bar key. Very important. Definitely going to need something to open up our cider. So if you have like a wine key or a bar blade, that'll come in handy. And then ultimately, we do have our fresh lemon. So just get a nice sharp knife. Be careful with the knife. Ultimately, we are going to imbibe some alcohol. So I just want to put it out there. Be responsible. Be careful if you are handling a sharp object to just be careful with that. So, okay. Awesome. So that's it for in terms of the tools. All right. So in terms of tools, that's what you need. By any means, if there's something I said and you missed, drop it in the chat. I'll answer it. Rachel will answer it. But that's it for the tools. So again, hopefully you've got those items. Now we do send, like I said, an abundance of things. And for the first cocktail, which is going to be our strawberry lemonade spritz, what you need to have and what you should have for this kit is the following items. So first and foremost is our strawberry white sangria sorbet, which we will get into in a second, but you definitely have to have this. This is very key to what we are making. You should have our sponsored Truly lemonade hard spritzer. This stuff is delicious in and of itself, but great with these flavor combinations, and also just great for utilizing with any of our sorbets. And I'll get into a little bit better when we talk about our other cocktail options. And then you would have gotten some fun, like fruit gummies that actually look like fruit. I know I'm a little bit far away from some of you, but they kind of look like pineapples or grapes. And then one fresh lemon. And then, of course, we always like to dress things up and have a good time. We have the really nice decorative straws that we always use, paper, because we're very self-conscious about things. And then we also have our fun cocktail sticks for those of you who are social media inclined and like to live your life vicariously or out there in the world for everybody to see. We always have fun hashtag ice cream cocktail sticks that you can throw in. Tonight I've got ice cream wasted. There's a slew of different ones that we have, so definitely if you get so inspired after making this drink or another cocktail tonight, put it out there on social media, tag us at Tipsy Scoop, hashtag, you can hashtag whatever your fun ice cream cocktail stick says, and ultimately let the world know that you made a delicious cocktail. So the strawberry lemonade spritz is the first drink we're going to make. So what do we need for that? Well, as I said before, you need those tools, we need these ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and start off with our glass. And what we're going to do is pop open our sorbet. Now, I do these classes all the time, and one of the things I've learned is that when you make the drink, sometimes you don't taste the ice cream beforehand. So we want to make sure that you get that out of the way. I like to call it, product tasting, quality control, whatever you want to call it. You want to make sure that the goods are delicious. And plus, for some of you who've never had any of Tipsy Scoop's delicious ice creams or sorbets, this is your opportunity to try it before you actually put it in a drink. So take your tablespoon here, and let's jump into our delicious strawberry white sangria sorbet. Oh, yeah. Now, for those of you who've done a couple of these, there's always one flavor of sorbet or ice cream that we do that I'm just like, it's one of my favorites. This one is definitely one of my favorites. It's delicious. So for those of you who want to know what it's infused with, it's infused with white wine and an elderflower liqueur. Plus, we only use all natural ingredients. Every one of the ice creams and sorbets that Tipsy Scoop makes is about 4 to 5 ingredients, of which air is one of the ingredients and our alcohol that we infuse in which case this one is the white wine and elderflower liqueur. So what we're going to do to make our drink is go ahead and do a scoop of our strawberry strawberry white sangria ice cream. We're actually going to do 2 scoops, kind of like Raisin Brands here. And hopefully if your glass is big enough, you can do the 2 scoops and it won't be really an issue. That's why I use a nice big glass, because it really does accommodate the entire volume. Now, what we're going to do is then pop open our truly hard lemonade seltzer here. Now, at this point, if you want to incorporate some other alcohols or spirits into this or liqueurs into your cocktail, you can. So a spritz is an actual cocktail. We have spritz and we have spritzers. Spritz, by definition, is usually a cocktail that's made with a bitter liqueur, topped with soda, and then usually a sparkling wine, so Prosecco, Cava, or Champagne. In this case, we're not really using a bitter liqueur. We're actually using a delicious white strawberry white sangria ice cream. Is kind of really that base of the cocktail. Then we're going to top it off with, this is going to act as our quasi club soda and our Prosecco. So really kind of 2 in 1 here. But for those of you who, love making cocktails and really want to play around with some different things, some ideas and booze and liqueurs that'll go really well with this. Malibu white rum is going to go great. Even white rum with this will go fine. A Blanco tequila will go really, really well. For those of you who really want to embrace the spritz, so spritzes tend to be lower ABV, so think the Aperol spritz. Aperol with this is going to go great. I even really enjoy, again, because we've infused this with the elderflower liqueur, so Saint Germain or any elderflower liqueur will go nice with this. Really bring out that kind of springtime flavor, summertime flavor, which this drink screams. And then ultimately, if you really want to go fruity, definitely something like a peach liqueur will go really, really well with this. So there's some options for you in terms of incorporating some elements of booze into it. Now, another fun way to kind of really embrace spring or embrace the spritz motif is once you've got the sorbet and you've got the Trulian, you want to go ahead and top it off with some Prosecco. A, I'm not going to be mad at you, but B, it's going to really become a full-on Spritz, so you're going to be good on that end. Now, what we're going to do is, now that we've got the Truly on top, I'm going to take my little butter knife here, give this a little bit of a stir, and all I'm doing is really just trying to infuse the sorbet with the rest of the Truly to kind of blend the flavors together. I don't want to stir it till it dissolves. I want that sorbet still there. I just want a little bit of it to be kind of emulsified so that when we go in to take a sip, we're not getting like two flavors that are not really blended together. We want everything kind of blended. Next, what we're going to do is going to go ahead and cut open our lemon, and we're going to cut what we call a moon. So a moon or a wheel, just basically a 1/2 inch thick, round. And what I always like to do, also just depending on your glasses, is we'll cut it into 2 half moons. So essentially 2 half moons. And then go ahead and put those into your cocktail. Now, what this is going to do, first and foremost, when you're using any type of fresh citrus, instantaneously it's going to add aroma, right? So my apartment right now, this room where I'm doing these classes, now instantaneously smells of fresh lemon. It smells amazing. Anything with citrus is also going to have another side effect, which is not only is it going to smell great, so when you go in to take a sip, it's going to smell refreshing, that lemon, but it's also going to start to create anticipation for food. So basically, acid will help kind of start the saliva glands, which is going to make you hungry. So this is a great drink to have before eating, kind of a really great brunch cocktail. So not really what I would call a dessert cocktail, but something that's really going to be great to have before dinner, during the daytime. And really, again, because that fresh citrus, it's going to smell amazing. The aroma, it's going to smell fresh, but also that citrus is going to make you want to eat, and you'll start to get a little bit of hungry. So we've got those fresh lemon half moons in there. As always, like to dress these cocktails up and have a little bit of fun. If you want to top it off a little bit more, the Truly, you can. No one's going to get upset with you on that. And then take a handful of those fruit gummies that actually look like fruit. And let's put it in. Make it look nice and fun. Because I got the lemon in there, I'm going to use my white and yellow straw. And then top it off with my, the great thing about the lemons is you can take the cocktail sticks, put it right in there, and you've got yourself an instant, what I call a boat. So there you go. You've got your cocktail, the garnish, everything right there. And that is our first cocktail, the Strawberry Lemonade Spritz, part of our collection of the Spring Fling or Spring Fever Cocktail Kit collection. Oh, yeah. So refreshing, so delicious. Again, this is really kind of that perfect brunch cocktail, that perfect, during the day. I mean, the sun is starting to set later and later in the day. So for those of you who are going to the parks, and the weather's in that 60 and 70, depending on where you are in the world, this is great. The great thing about this is you can take the sorbet, not advocating anybody drive, but you can go to a park, put this in a glass, like a mason jar, top it off with the Truly, throw that fresh lemon in, throw some gummies in, and you've got yourself a great little park drink. It's refreshing, delicious, very low maintenance. As you saw, very easy to make. So definitely a great way to start your springtime. So before I get into any of this, I'm just going to check the chat to make sure there's no questions. Is the sorbet vegan? Vodka works really, really good. I don't know if the sorbet is vegan. That actually would be something that Rachel might be able to answer. And where can you get that glass? So just a heads up for those that really like these glasses. This is actually a glass that came from a brand that I oversaw here in the U.S. up until recently. But you can definitely go onto a Williams-Sonoma or a Sur La Table or even some of the a West Elm and get these really kind of beautiful they're called Bordeaux glasses. So for those of you who are looking online for Spritz glasses and not getting much success, this would be a Bordeaux glass. And usually those companies make really gorgeous looking glassware that is usually a little bit expensive, but it's very nice. And this one's got the kind of riveted glass. So you're going to get that spectrum of light reflecting on all different sides. So for anybody who is curious, those places usually have some really nice glassware. But there you go. There is our delicious strawberry lemonade spritz. If you have any questions, please go ahead, drop them in now. Myself and Rachel are here so we can answer anything. Obviously, anything that's ice cream related, Tipsy Scoop related. Rachel is a great resource and she can help you out. Anything cocktail related, please ask away. But I'll let you enjoy this for a second before we go on to make our second cocktail. And please, for those of you who decided to get creative and threw in your own spirits, let us know what worked. Again, I mean, the great thing about this is that I get to play around with a lot of stuff. You can't see over here, but hundreds and hundreds of bottles of liquor brands and spirits over here. And so I get to play around with those and our ice creams and different stuff. So I haven't tried every flavor combination of alcohol and our sorbets or ice creams, but please let us know if there's something that you threw in there that you really thought was fun. Let us know because it's great for us. We'll recommend it, especially if we remake it at the ice cream shop and post it out on social media. But always great to hear different suggestions and different ideas or recipes that you may have come up with in the midst of doing this class. Oh, there you go. That's like springtime in a glass there, Blake. She's got strawberry sangria, sparkling rosé. I'm assuming sparkling rosé and vodka, or she's got a sparkling rosé vodka, and then the autoflower liqueur. So that is literally incorporating spring in glass. That's really more of a spritzer. So for everybody out there who's always heard the term spritz and spritzer and kind of like bartenders, just come up with one and stay with it. So as I said before, spritz is actually the family of cocktails. So it's the name of a family of cocktail that traditionally is a bitter liqueur, club soda, and then some type of like carbonated or sparkling wine, so cava, prosecco, or champagne. A spritzer is really kind of anything else. So basically anything that's topped with either sparkling wine and or club soda, and then you can really kind of dress it up. So spritzers tend to be kind of more of the sweeter kind of cocktail. So usually you'll have a lot of fresh citrus, something sweet like the elderflower liqueur, and then you usually top it off with either a combination of both the club soda and prosecco, or you can do one or the other. So for those of you who see those two words and you're like, aren't they the same? Yes and no, but not to be too particular. But spritzer is definitely more of those like sweeter, bubbly drinks versus a spritz that would traditionally be a little bitter with that sparkling flavor. So there you go. yeah, that drink sounds delicious. We got to get a photo of that. You definitely got to take one and send it to Tipsy Scoop social media so that we can post it and talk about it as a recipe. But does sound delicious. Like I said, it's definitely springtime in a glass. Now, I'll let everybody kind of continue drinking. That drink is refreshing. It is delicious. It is all those amazing things. But we do want you to drink responsibly, so don't pound it. You don't need to necessarily do that. While you are enjoying that beverage, what I am going to do is go ahead and get us ready for the second cocktail, which is the Cherry Bomb, which is right there. So, Cherry Bomb, also great cocktail. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to make any drinks on here that are bad. We're not going to create cocktails and kits and send them to you that are awful. But there are going to be differences, right? So, this first drink, the Spritz, is a little bit more bubbly light, as I said before, a little bit more of that springtime brunch, summertime brunch, daytime cocktail. Cherry Bomb is going to be a little bit more of a desserty cocktail. Now, it's not going to be that heavy kind of mudslide, adult milkshake drinks that we've made in the past. Obviously, those were some of our winter cocktails. And, those are delicious, but definitely more of your, dessert style cocktails. Very sweet, heavy, all that stuff is great. This is going to be a little bit lighter. So it will be a dessert cocktail still, but a little bit on the lighter side. And I really think you'll enjoy this. This one to me is actually, it's a great combination of flavors. It's really fun. And I actually have a great little suggestion as an additional cocktail after this as well with this. So please stand by for that. So before Cherry Bomb, for the drink, what you're going to need is your delicious Mackenzie black cherry cider, your Tipsy Scoop vanilla bean bourbon ice cream. And I'll tell you what's in that one. So for those who have never tried it before, you would have got a little thing if you got the kit. But for those that get the kit, we have like a little thing of cherry preserves. They're amazing. This is just a bigger version of it. We have what I like to call our Pac-Man cherry gummies. I grew up the game, so I definitely reference it a lot. The green tops and the cherries. So those should be in your kit. As well as, again, if you have some maraschino cherries, handy, throw them in. No one's going to be upset with that. But again, really kind of a simple, easy drink. You can make this one in like a brandy snifter. You can make it in a mason jar. Whatever glassware your heart's content. Again, I'm going to stay a little bit fancy tonight and make it in my Spritz glass here, or Bordeaux glass for those that are paying attention. But that's pretty much it for the cherry bomb. So obviously still keeping our tools, but the ingredients for this one is really kind of minimal. So it's a great, easy drink to make as well. So the great thing, if you've noticed a concept here and some similarities, is the drinks are never difficult, right? We make it very easy for you to make a drink quickly, a very delicious experience done very shortly so you can enjoy it with friends and family and really enjoy yourself and not have to worry about, thousands of ingredients in a cocktail, having to shake anything. We make it kind of plug and play, pretty easy for you. So for those of you who are ready, we're going to make our cherry bomb here. So what we're going to do, this is where that butter knife is going to come really in handy. So I'm going to go ahead and take it right now. Go ahead and pop open our cherry preserves. And we're going to go ahead and pop open our delicious vanilla bourbon bean ice cream. Now, for those of you who are super familiar with this flavor, you'll notice right away when you've tasted it in the past, like just how much of that bourbon flavor it gets infused into this. So we use Four Roses bourbon to make this ice cream. And for those of you who have vanilla ice cream and you're like, so it's vanilla, it's not very exciting. You've never had ours. So before we make our drink, let's go ahead, take our tablespoon here, and let's get ourselves a nice big scoop. And right away, for bourbon fans or people who drink a lot of bourbon, you'll notice a lot of those similar flavors that you get with whiskey, especially American bourbon. So not only do I get just a little hint of the bourbon in the ice cream, but there's big flavors of like vanilla bean, a little bit of like baking spices, so a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of like toasted coconut, all kind of like fit into this. And really, this is one of those ice creams where you can taste it multiple times and get different little flavor nuances, especially, again, for those that are big bourbon fans. And the flavor combination goes really amazingly well with cherry. Cherry actually is one of those things that if we were to pour a couple of shots of whiskey out, and I literally told you, hey, what do you think of when you taste cherry, or think about the flavor of cherry, and then you went to taste a whiskey, you would actually start, your brain, the way it works, would start to pick out cherry flavor notes. It's just because certain flavors of cherry mimic kind of the flavors, the baking spices, fruity flavors that you get from you actually get in certain American bourbon. So it's just funny how your brain will work. If I tell you Bananas Foster and you go in to take a sip of American bourbon, all of a sudden that's all you're going to taste. You're only going to taste Bananas Foster. So it's pretty cool how the brain works. But again, a great combination of flavors of that cherry and these the delicious ice cream. So before you eat all your ice cream, we're going to make this cocktail. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cherry preserves here and this butter knife. We're actually going to use it almost kind of like a paintbrush. I think you've probably seen me do this before, some of our other cocktails. But what I like to do is just kind of put this like so on the rim. Now, you can do what you want to do at home if you want to like just kind of spread it inside the glass, just so it kind of like drizzles down the side. For an aesthetic thing, you can. The great thing is that these preserves will actually, over the course of you drinking it, and then with the addition of the cider, it'll actually infuse into the drink itself. So you don't really necessarily need to put it on the rim, but I like to put this stuff on the rim for two reasons. First is because not that I don't advocate you using our straws, which are beautiful and fun, but I like to sip this cocktail straight from the glass, and I really like to incorporate that cherry flavor as I sip the cocktail. So putting it on the rim allows me to do that, so that every time I take a sip, doesn't matter where I put the glass down, when I pick it back up, take a sip, I'll have cherry somewhere where I can taste it. The other thing it does is that for those of you who've done some of these classes in the past, when we top this off on top of the ice cream, what tends to happen is it'll foam up really quickly. And so with this addition, this almost acts like a trap. So where the foam actually will stop and it won't overflow unless you like just force it out by the sense of over pouring the glass. So it's a really kind of cool way to kind of capture the foam, keep it from like overflowing. So that's why I do it on the rim. So really kind of two methods or two reasons. But let's go ahead and drop in our delicious ice cream before this melts. So again, you can do one large scoop. You can do 2 scoops. Depends on what you've got in terms of volume in your glass. I'm going to do a little bit of a 2 scooper there. Then I'm going to go ahead and pop open our delicious Mackenzie's Black Cherry Hard Cider. And again, for those that have done this in the past or have seen my other classes or just done a class and you realize that you've had this happen to you before, you just want to pour this nice and slow. You can see how fast it fizzes up. You know, you get it'll fizz up really quickly if you don't pour it nice and slow. Anything that's got CO2, once it hits sugar, will react in a way where it kind of becomes very bubbly and explodes with bubbles really quickly. And as you can see, very foamy, right? So you can see this is the cider part and this is the foam. And really that cherry kind of helps keep the foam kind of isolated right there. Like I said, it won't go beyond it, so I won't get that sticky. You know, if I over poured it, it would do that. But if I had the foam bellow up, it wouldn't overflow. It would just kind of cone up a little bit. So once I've got that there, I just kind of do this. I take that butter knife again. I do a nice little stir. If you have a spoon, you can do this with the spoon as well. You can see how much of that foam comes off. But really just, again, kind of incorporating a lot of those. I want to kind of stir those flavors together. And then I take my delicious Pac-Man gummies. Just kind of put them on. The foam, the great thing about this foam is that it will kind of act as it'll allow you to kind of suspend them. So if you see on top right now, those cherries are just kind of suspended right there in the foam. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to put a straw in it. If you want to throw in one of our delicious or fun little cocktail sticks, you can. Now, for those that have it here and or we're making it and are like, what are some things that we can throw in, much like the first cocktail, to make it boozier or really embrace happy hour, right? So some things that'll go really, really well with this. So first and foremost, obviously bourbon, because we have the vanilla bourbon bean ice cream. So that'll go really, really well. So if you're a big whiskey fan, whether that's bourbon or rye, the rye is going to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit spicier. So if you really kind of want, if this is a little sweet when you go to taste it, a little bit of rye will give you a little bit of a spice that'll help balance out that sweetness. Some other things that'll be really, really good would be dark rum with this, you know, that kind of sweet, dark, molassesy style rum. It'll really kind of, that also really goes well with anything that's cherry. So those flavors will mesh really, really well. Another great spirit, if you, again, staying in the spirits, not the liqueurs, an añejo tequila or extra añejo tequila will go really well with this as well. So those are 3 spirits or styles of spirits I highly recommend for this drink. Now, for those that want to be a little bit more adventurous, like Blake over here did in her with the first cocktail, one right out of the bat, right out of the gate, is definitely going to be amaretto. So amaretto, for those that don't know, is actually a liqueur made with cherry stems and pits. And so you're going to get a lot of that funky cherry flavor that will actually go really well with this cherry bomb. So really, if you're really going to lean into the cherry flavor, amaretto with this is going to go really great. Frangelico with this will go really well as well, because Frangelico is a hazelnut liqueur. So it'll really kind of mimic and play off the flavors with the ice cream. and really kind of be a balance to the cherry flavor and the cider flavor if it's a little too much for you. So those are some great suggestions. Oh, there you go, sour cherry beer. Yeah, so I mean, again, sour cherry beer. So really going away from like a sweeter style cider. That sour is going to make it a little bit more tart. So now we're going into more of the kind of spritz realm. So getting away from that sweet desserty cocktail that this is, and kind of going to that. So that's a great addition, great suggestion on that one, Rachel. So yeah, so really, if you like this format, but you're like, oh, it's a little too sweet, take the cider and switch it out with like a sour cherry beer or sour style ale that has a little bit more of sour flavor, and you'll still get a great drink, but it'll be a little bit more of a, again, kind of like daytime cocktail versus like the desserty cocktail. For those of you who kind of don't really know the difference between bourbon and whiskey, just some basics really quickly. So all bourbons are whiskey, not all whiskey are bourbons. I'm sure you've heard that term and probably had it applied to a lot of things that you've ever heard before. And what does that mean? Well, so whiskeys can be made anywhere in the world, and traditionally whiskey by law, every country that has or makes whiskeys has its own rules regarding what classifies as a whiskey, but traditionally it has to sit in like an oak cask for 2 to 4 to longer years. So anything less than 2 is usually not defined as a whiskey, even though some brands like moonshine like to say moonshine whiskey, not technically a whiskey based on how we define whiskey. So usually it has to sit in oak for about 2 years and up. Bourbon, by law in this country, because we are the only country that can produce bourbon, you make whiskey, you make a style of whiskey. Usually bourbon, the mash or the raw materials to make the bourbon have to be 51% corn. So most bourbons will always be 51% and higher in corn, and then usually some rye or wheat or some other things. But in this country, we actually force all whiskey producers that are making bourbon to then age their whiskey in New American oak casks. And really, that's the kind of definer for that becoming bourbon, right? So 2 things is, or if there's really 3 things you got to know about bourbon, has to be made in the U.S. 51% corn is what it's made out of, and then has to be aged in New American oak, and usually longer than 4 years. So 4 years is kind of the minimum. Anything above that is fine. So that's really kind of it. And then anything else is whiskey. And like I said, we get really nuanced because every country that makes whiskey has different laws regarding it. But in this country, traditionally, it has to be 2 years in a cask before it can be called technically whiskey. And then it has to be New American oak for it to be bourbon. It has to be 51%, whereas rye has to be 51% high. So there you go, something a little bit. Yeah, so, and that's also why if you ever taste bourbon versus rye, for those of you who see rye and you're like, what's that? Bourbon will be always a little bit sweeter versus rye, which will be a little bit spicier and a little bit more forward in terms of its flavor, a little bit more pungent sometimes. So then that's just the difference between the grains, right? Corn's a little bit softer, sweeter. Rye, depending on the rye style that you use, will be a little bit more spice and kind of grainy and cereally. So that is our cherry bomb. Hopefully you don't have any questions regarding this cocktail specifically. If you do, as always, drop in the chat and we'll answer it. But go ahead, if you made this, enjoy your creation. Like I said, I like to drink this one from the glass so I can get that cherry. Oh yeah, and it really does incorporate the cherry flavor into the drink, which is very delicious. I'm a big fan of cherry flavor, so I like that as a way of always having a little bit of cherry with this cocktail. But yeah, definitely let us know if you threw anything in that I didn't suggest, or even if you did throw in any of the things I suggested. It'd be great to see what you think of those ideas and what you came up with, so we can now salute your effort, but applaud it and hear how delicious it is. So don't hesitate to drop it in. But for those of you who are interested in some cocktail ideas, now that we've done these 2 drinks and you're like, Justin, I've got some extra stuff. I've got these extra ingredients now. I do like these 2 drinks. They are amazing, but do you have something else that I can do? Yes, we do. So one of these drinks that we made today, the one that we just made, the cherry bomb, is a delicious drink and actually a really fun way to kind of play on that. So this was really, again, more of a desserty cocktail. And then if you throw in the bourbon, the whiskeys, the rums, It's still kind of like, I'd say, a sweet drink, and really kind of like not necessarily an unboozy cocktail, but not what I would say like a drink that you could drink a lot. I love Rachel's suggestion of the sour beer as an option for kind of changing the style of the drink into something that's a little bit more effervescent and daytimey and kind of easy drinking. But it really kind of got me thinking when I was thinking of like other suggestions. And a really fun drink, out there is the gin fizz. Very complicated cocktail to be made. If you go look it up, usually like 8 ingredients, egg whites, all that stuff. But the great thing is that we've already got the foundations for a really fun twist on it. So a great bonus cocktail for everybody out there is called the Cherry Gin Fizz. And really, you're going to need the vanilla bourbon bean ice cream. That'll act as kind of like the 2 ingredients that are in a gin fizz, which traditionally you have egg white and cream. That'll be that for the ice cream. We're going to add in some of that cherry preserves. That'll actually act as a kind of like our sweetener. And then you're going to do some fresh lime. You're going to do some gin. So for those of you who don't love gin, if you want to switch it to vodka, you can. If you want to switch it to a tequila, you can. But the gin's going to be fun because it'll really kind of play around with some of the, add some botanical flavors to it and kind of really change this into kind of a cocktail bar cocktail. So gin. Then we're going to add some ginger ale to this. Don't shake it with the ginger ale. But if you want to just build this in a highball, I would just go with the vanilla ice cream. Top it off with the gin, add some fresh citrus, add your preserves, give it a nice stir, top it off with some ginger beer. That ginger beer, ginger ale is going to give it a nice big fuzz and foam, and then garnish it off with a mint sprig and some more of either those the cherry gummies that we have. We can add a little bit of drizzle of the cherry preserves on it. And there you go. There's a cherry gin fizz alternative for you this weekend if you need if you want to play around with these, ice creams and sorbets, if you have any left, if you didn't eat it all. But that's a great, fun cocktail. I highly recommend for those who want to be adventurous and play around with these drinks. Check the chat real quick to see if there's anybody asking any questions about anything. Love a gin fizz. So excited for a simple way. Yeah, please try it. It'll be fun. Again, it's not going to taste exactly like a Ramos gin fizz, but we have kind of pushed together some flavors that are very similar, done in a fun way. And I think the cherry gin and the ice cream you're going to be very surprised how well they go well together. And then again, that addition of ginger ale or ginger beer, really up to you. Or if you want to use a flavored club soda, LaCroix makes amazing club sodas. If you want to use some of this, you can. But again, I would really kind of stay in kind of that like authentic gin fizz. Do something that's a little unbubbly without any alcohol, and really you got yourself kind of like I said, like a version of the gin fizz that is a little bit easier to make, as Blake mentions, and not as complicated. And definitely looking forward to hearing how that turns out for all the you who make it. So please, and if you do make it, tag not only Tipsy Scoop but tag Closing Time Cocktails. That is my Instagram handle. So please, if you make any of these drinks and you want to show myself and Tipsy Scoop what you've come up with, tag it so that we can spread the love and show off to our friends as well what you guys are doing on our stories. So now, while you imbibe these 2 drinks or whatever you have left, I'm going to go through some fun things that we have coming up, because I know we're coming up almost done with our YouTube live for tonight. But for those of you who enjoyed this and have done some of our cocktail classes in the past or have done these kits, well, we've got some amazing ones coming up. So as I mentioned before at the beginning of this, we do have a couple more Instagram lives that we're going to be doing. We have one coming up on May 5th that is going to be Cinco de Mayo themed. So for those of you who really love Cinco de Mayo, and unfortunately last year we really missed out on Cinco de Mayo and the Derby. I know the Derby ended up being in September, but again, I think May, especially the beginning of May, Cinco de Mayo, Kentucky Derby, 2 of my favorite things, tequila, bourbon. But this Instagram Live is going to be specific about Cinco de Mayo. So we have a fun, margarita style kit that we're doing with our delicious mango margarita and another great cocktail. But if you go to the website, they are available. So if you want to participate in that Instagram Live, go to the tipsyscoop.com website and you can go ahead and those are ready for order. And we do ship anywhere in the U.S. So if you are not in New York and you're in California and you want to do the class, or you just want the kit, go ahead. Don't worry about it. We will be able to send it to you. And then in another date that we're doing in May is May 9th. We're going to be doing the Mother's Day. So for all you moms out there, or for potential moms or just people who love to drink Mother's Day drinks, we're going to be doing a special Mother's Day Instagram live cocktail class as well, where we're going to be featuring, again, really kind of fun, summery, springy style cocktails that are really fit to celebrate not only moms, but the season as well. Another holiday, much like, all the holidays of 2020 and even into 2021, I feel like we missed. We're going to hopefully try to celebrate them a little bit more. Obviously, still doing it virtually to some extent, but hopefully, if you enjoy these and you really enjoyed having me teach you, or if you've done one of the classes on Zoom and you really enjoyed it, you can book it for your mom, and you and your family can do one and celebrate her that way. Or if you really like Cinco de Mayo and you want to get some friends together and have a different way of celebrating it, or if you're in the midst of celebrating a certain way, do the YouTube live, and then get the kit. So then you guys can make it, and maybe we can do a virtual happy hour where I teach you how to make the drink. So definitely go to the website, check it out, tipsyscoop.com. Rachel has put it into the chat a couple times, but she'll definitely drop it in again. And if you live in the area, the kits are definitely available for pickup at both the New York and the Williamsburg location. And as I said before, shipping is available nationwide. And as I mentioned, we do these kits not only to keep the experience that we have at the ice cream store going and kind of giving you a semblance of what we would do, obviously in real time, in real life at the store is a different experience to some extent, but these classes are trying to mimic that and still really bring you a fun experience that we at Tipsy Scoop like to do live, but doing it through this method. And for those of you who work for different companies, looking for different ways to kind of connect with your colleagues, I know we're still living that Zoom life, and you're trying to find ways and activities to kind of like break up the monotony and have a good time. This is a really great thing, because again, we kind of send you everything minus the tools. It's very simple, very much plug and play. You get myself most of the time teaching these drinks, and it's a really fun way to kind of like connect, network, socialize, have a good time for about an hour. And again, as you see, not a lot of work goes into it. So I do a lot of the work. I do a lot of the talking. You just kind of follow along, make the drinks, enjoy the drinks, and talk amongst yourselves. So if you're interested in doing this for any of your, businesses or corporate colleagues, or you're trying to find new ways to connect with people, definitely reach out to the ladies over at Tipsy Scoop. They have a lot of corporate classes that they do and pricing for that. So they also have some fun ideas as well. So if you're like, hey, I like this, but I'd love some fun suggestions on way to kind of like make the class more interesting, or can we do different things? We've done a ton of different ways of making these cocktail classes work. So they definitely have suggestions galore on how to make it fun and unique for you and your group. And then we are opening a few new pop-up locations this summer, including an ice cream cart at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. So please check that out. For those of you who are going to be traveling, I know I'm traveling. I've gotten my shots. I went from traveling 45 weeks a year for work to like being stuck in my apartment. And really the only time I've gone anywhere has been to Austin for a month. But, for those of you who are looking to travel and you're probably looking for beach and fun, highly recommend if you get down to the Bahamas to check out the Atlantis Resort pop-up. And those would be some other locations coming up as well. And we'll let you guys know as they kind of arrive. And then one of the things I always let people know about, as we do these cocktails, and you've made these drinks and time goes by and you're like, I don't remember the drinks. I threw away the cards. I don't remember, always as a reference point, go back to the website. There's usually some stuff there that you can check out. But we also have an amazing cocktail book already made with photos, with recipes. So don't worry if you threw away your cards, but you really enjoyed this and you're looking for those recipes again and other recipes for you to play around with. Website, cocktail book. It's really fun. It's really awesome. It's not that intense cocktail book with like 9,000 recipes and no photos. It's a bunch of great photos with fun shots of each of these cocktails so you can see how they look when we make them, but also, gives you a starting point for how you can make them and do your own twist. So just some things that you can go to the website and get. The ice cream itself sells there. We always have fun new flavors coming out. We ship everywhere. We got cocktail kits that come out. We rotate them in terms of like every month. There's 2 or 3 different options, and they're always unique, so they're never the same ones. And then we got those YouTube lives coming up in May 5th for Cinco de Mayo, and then May 9th for all you amazing mothers. And then again, if you're interested in doing this for not only your friends, your colleagues, but your big corporate networking thing that you're putting together, or some type of like virtual event that you're trying to put together with your company, reach out to Rachel and her team, and they can set it up for you, as well as give you some amazing suggestions as to how to run one. And then ultimately, for those bound to travel like myself, look out for all those fun kind of pop-up locations that they're going to be bringing to you, and we'll let you know as they pop up. As I said a moment ago, one will be down in the Bahamas. So lucky person outside of Tipsy Scoop who goes there first, and is one of the first to experience that. So if there's any questions, please drop it into the chat right now. I know we're coming up on our hour, so I see some people dropping off because you probably have things to do, but I want to go ahead and extend a thank you to all of you for tuning in tonight. Look out for those dates, May 5th and May 9th, for the next ones that we're doing. Go to the website, get those kits ready so you have them for the classes. But by any means, if you ever want to contact me about anything, you can obviously reach out to Tipsy Scoop, and they will connect you to me. But you can always just go to my Instagram, which is Closing Time Cocktails, and hit me up on message. And I am very good at responding, so please. But with that being said, have an amazing rest of your evening. Have a lovely week. Stay safe. Be healthy. For those of you who haven't gotten shots yet, hopefully you'll get them soon. In the meantime, still be safe. Still social distance. Have a good time. Enjoy your drinks tonight, and have an amazing weekend. And I will see you May 5th and May 9th.